6 to 6 or Friday Night in Austin. Part 1, Hour 1, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Adrian's car broke down in the middle of rush hour on Cameron Road. He hated this street with a passion, and every time he drove here, he was a witness to an accident. He despised the fact that now he would be the clown in today's play. Adrian did think that this perfectly encapsulated the week that he'd been having. He began questioning everything while he waited for the tow truck. Why he still worked at this job, why he still lived in Austin, why. The CarMax mechanic looked at the car and said, "Nothing I can do now, man, but I can get it back to you by Monday, latest Tuesday." Adrian watched his pride and joy leave him just beneath the coming sunset, and his car almost turned gold. He called an Uber, at first for his apartment at the Arboretum, but then he saw a flock of birds above him and decided to go into Austin. He felt the need to make something of this week, and so he was going to have a drink, or maybe two, and let the night take him somewhere, anywhere. A Friday night is a terrible thing to waste, after all. Hour 2, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. He was terribly embarrassed to let everyone know that his favorite dive in Austin was Lala's Little Nugget, so he only ever came here by himself. Christmas lights danced year round, Christmas music blasted through the speakers, and the countdown to Christmas was a gentle reminder of days past. The regulars were trickling in, and Adrian was able to find a seat at the bar, with the Yankees game on the television. This is why he loved Austin. You can be everything and nothing at the same time. An older gentleman strolled up to the bar and ordered a round of shots for everyone. Adrian felt the generosity and returned it a few minutes later, buying the man and his group of friends another round. They didn't speak, they didn't need to. Elvis blasted through the speakers. Adrian took another drink and let the beer and the lights and the music take hold of him. Then someone tapped him on the shoulder. Adrian recognized her perfume before he turned and saw Alexis. "Thanks for ignoring me. Seriously, after 7 years together, we've got nothing to talk about. Why are you here? Just getting drinks with the girls." Adrian turned and saw Alexis's friends, who tried hard not to make it seem like they were watching them. "You hate this place." Alexis sighed. "Okay, fine. Lara still had your location. Give me some of your time, and if you still decide you hate me, I'll leave you alone forever." Adrian knew he should say no, knew he should turn back to the bar, finish his beer, and let her walk away, but he didn't. He followed her to the outside patio. Hour 3, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Alexis looked good, but then again, she always looked good, and that was part of the problem. "You look tired, Adrian." "Yeah, I've missed you." Adrian paused. "Why are we having this conversation, Alexis? I made a mistake, but for 3 months?" "I know. While we were looking at apartments together." 7 years, Adrian. Her voice cracked. "That has to mean something. One mistake shouldn't fuck that up." But it did mean something, and that was the worst part. 7 years together meant lazy Sunday mornings, corny poems back and forth, and knowing each other instinctively. "Do you miss me?" she asked. Even after everything, he missed her. Even now, he wanted nothing more than to reach across the table, grab her face, and kiss her. He wanted to go back to the way things were before, but something stopped him. "I can't be who I was when I was with you, and you can't be who you were when you were with me. We are both changed, for better and for worse. The more you pull away from me, the more I want you. I love you, Adrian, and I want all of you. To love someone is to trust someone, and I don't trust you anymore." Adrian leaned back and closed his eyes. Now it was Nat King Cole playing throughout the bar. His phone buzzed as he reached for his beer. It was from Darius, his best friend who had moved to LA 2 years ago. "Hey man, I'm in town right now. Come meet me at Whistler's." Adrian stared at the text in disbelief. He hadn't seen Darius in almost 2 years. He texted back, "On my way." "I think I'm going to go," Adrian said. She grabbed his hand. He felt the old pull, that familiar rush. For a moment, he almost stayed. Then he stood up and left the bar without looking back. 6 to 6, hour 4, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Adrian walked into Whistler's and spotted Darius at the bar. He looked exactly as Adrian remembered him: a vintage jacket, hoop earrings, and the same scar on his left cheek. Darius saw Adrian and his face lit up. "There he is." "Man, it's good to see you. I didn't know you were coming home to visit." "Well, neither did I until this morning. They flew me out here for work. But man, I figured, hey, it's Friday night, and I gotta hang out with my boy." Darius turned to the bartender. "Let's do another old fashioned for my boy here." They drank for a moment in silence. Then Adrian said, "You'll never guess who I was just with." "Who?" "Alexis." Darius shook his head. "What happened?" "She wanted to talk. Wanted me back, I think. And nothing happened. I left." Darius set down his glass and turned to face him fully. "Who are you, Adrian?" Adrian looked confused. "Just Adrian. Just myself." "No one is just their name, bro. What do you want out of life? It's been like this since college. You gotta figure out what you want in life. What's gonna make you happy?" Adrian remained silent. "Did you want her?" Darius asked. "Yeah, but nothing happened." "No, own what you feel and don't apologize for it. If you wanted her, then you wanted her. Live with that." They drank in silence as the bar filled in around them. Adrian felt a jolt and knew that this night had the potential to be a long one. "How long are you in town?" "Just a weekend." "Ready to get out of here?" Adrian nodded. 6 to 6, hour 5, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. They hit the White Horse next, and it seemed to Adrian that everyone in the room was two stepping with one another. Adrian could feel the rhythm in his chest and smell the sweat in the air. Darius bought them both a beer, and they pushed through the crowd. The energy was different, and Adrian loved it. It was rawer, younger, and Adrian realized he'd been sleepwalking for months. Darius grabbed the girl's hand, and they started to dance with each other. He stumbled at first, but soon they got into a rhythm. Almost immediately after that, they began to kiss, and Adrian felt a pang of jealousy. Adrian turned away and walked back to the bar. Then he saw him. A man walked through the crowd in the opposite direction. Same height, same build, same hair, but somehow different. This man moved with an easy swagger. He was darker and he was sexier. The man's eyes met Adrian's for a moment with a knowing smirk, and just like that, he disappeared. Adrian turned back to the dance floor when he heard shouting. Two men had bumped into each other and now shoved back and forth. Adrian grabbed one of the men, and Darius grabbed the other. Between the two of them, they broke up the fight. Security escorted the two men out, and the music continued just like that. Adrian checked his phone. 10:41 p.m. Darius was still dancing with the woman. Adrian felt a tap on his shoulder and turned to see a lady who asked him to dance. Adrian and the lady danced for a couple of songs before she had to rejoin her friends. Adrian, feeling awkward, pulled out his phone again to check his texts. Still 10:41 p.m. He stared at the screen. Time had stopped. Or he'd stepped out of it entirely. He walked to the bar and ordered a beer. Darius joined him shortly afterward. "You good, man?" "Yeah. You?" "Never better. Where to next?" Adrian didn't know, but for the first time in years, this indecision felt like freedom. 6 to 6, hour 6, 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. The juice from the taco slid down Adrian's hand, and he reached for a napkin. Adrian tasted everything in the taco all at once: the lime juice, the meat, the cheese. It all tasted sharper, more alive. There's an improv show at the Fallout in like 10 minutes, Adrian said. Down? Darius nodded. They walked a few blocks over. This was Adrian's favorite side of Austin. Not the tech or the finance side, but the artsy, weird side of Austin. It took them a few minutes to find a seat in the theater, and the lights dimmed as they did. The cast came out and started to build scene after scene from nothing. A one word suggestion from the crowd, which led to chaos and then something meaningful and beautiful. Adrian watched them build something from nothing. Instinct and trust. That's all it took. When they stumbled back outside, they heard music coming from a nearby alley. A band had set up in the alley, a crowd had gathered. The lead singer's girlfriend passed out flyers. The patch. The singer's voice cracked on the high notes, but it didn't matter. Adrian once again let the music wash over him. Everyone cheered when the patch finished their set. You know where we're going next? Darius asked. Where? I mean, I haven't been there in years. Adrian waited. We're going to Rainy Street. 6 to 6, hour 7, 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. Adrian warned Darius about what Rainy Street had turned into, but Darius had to see it for himself. Where there were bars, there were now soulless apartments. The container bar, which held the street together, was gone too. So it's true, huh? Darius said. I warned you, man. Where do people go now? Now? Well, West 6, South Austin has some places. Where we were earlier, around Whistler's in that area too. The Domain, maybe, but that's hit or miss. And then there's 6th Street. They walked into Half Step and each grabbed a cocktail. It was Adrian's turn to pay for the drinks. They hit some of the other bars around the area afterward. Lucille's, Bungalow, and a couple others. Darius' smile faded. You okay? I had so many memories here, bro. During college, remember that time we randomly crashed the Bachelorette and you ended up ruining that wedding before it even had a chance? Darius laughed. Hey, if it wasn't me, it would have been something else or someone else. Adrian remained silent, and Darius continued. I don't want to go home yet. Barb's? Adrian felt electricity run through him. You didn't plan to go to Barbarella's. It either happened on a whim or it didn't. And right now, the energy was right. I don't think you've ever had a better idea in your life. It's that way, I think. Adrian pointed in a random direction. Or that way, Darius said. They laughed and crashed into each other, stumbling east towards 6th Street. 6 to 6, hour 8, 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. The casuals were long gone. Only the committed remained. Adrian glanced at the streetlights and covered his eyes. The world was gold and covered in music. There was music he couldn't place, a melody and strings with something haunting underneath, and it followed them. You hear that? A white bird flew overhead, a dove, maybe. It landed on the streetlights above them. Adrian looked up and locked eyes with the bird, who watched him with silent appeal. The bird flew towards Barbarella's. When we get in there, lose yourself, Darius said. I mean it. Passion and spontaneity. That's all that matters tonight. Adrian was almost too inebriated to respond. He remembered the man he'd seen at White Horse who looked just like him. Tonight, Adrian was going to be him. They walked to the back of the line when he saw her. A woman, dark hair, catching the light. Everything else faded but her. And then their eyes met. Just like that, she disappeared into Barbarella's. Adrian saw the white bird perched above the entrance. Then they were at the door. They paid the cover and were patted down by security. The world transformed as Adrian stepped inside. 6 to 6, hour 9, 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Barb's was packed to the brim. You could taste the sweat that permeated the air. Friday night was 80s night, but they played modern music as well. Adrian and Darius pushed through to the bar and each ordered two drinks, a shot of whiskey and a beer to chase it with. Darius nodded towards the dance floor and they headed over. Darius disappeared into the crowd. Adrian laughed and silently wished his friend well. He pushed his way to the middle of the dance floor and swaggered to the rhythms of Whitney Houston and Charlie XCX. Adrian bumped into someone. He spun around and saw her. The light cast a subtle glow on her skin, and Adrian was unable to speak. Everything else disappeared. The crowd, the music. She looked at him like she'd been waiting her whole life. Sorry, Adrian said. She smiled. Impossible not to bump into someone here. They were caught in each other's gaze. Then her friend tugged her arm and whispered something in her ear. The woman nodded, and the friend pulled her towards the bar. She glanced back, and Adrian was fixated on her. He moved through the crowd toward her, but she swayed and swirled and eluded him. She and her friend weaved between people between the lights, but he always found her. He made his way beside her on the dance floor. They weren't touching, but he could smell her perfume. They moved to the music in their own way, both aware of each other. Adrian turned to her. I had to find you. I can see that. I'm Adrian. She smiled. I'm Nina. Nice to meet you. He extended his hand. She took it. The music changed from Simple Minds to Cyndi Lauper to Bowie and back to Charlie XCX. I saw you outside with your friend, she said. I saw you too, but it took you this long to say hi? Adrian laughed. They moved as one, like they'd been dancing together for years. Adrian felt electricity whenever she moved closer to him, and he felt empty when she moved away. I feel like I already know you, Adrian said. I feel it too. None of this makes sense. She kissed him. The kiss was deep, deliberate, and restorative. Her hand was hot on his back, and he felt lightheaded. The lights caught them, and for a moment, they were the only two people in the room. Adrian felt sweat on his chest when they pulled apart. Where did you come from? She whispered. 1,000 places and one. Adrian looked at her, really looked at her. Nina felt like coming home and running away at the same time. This is a dream, she said. Then I don't want to wake up. Nina held his gaze for a long moment. Was it melancholy? It's almost closing time. There's an after hours place we can go to if you're down. What about your friends? I already told them that you're a safe person and that I really like you. Adrian smirked. I'm flattered. Even if we don't see each other after tonight, let's spend what time we have together. She kissed him and grabbed his hand. 6 to 6, hour 10, 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. They stepped out of Barbarella and into the crispy night air. Adrian felt goosebumps along his arms. His shirt still stuck to his back, but he could smell his cologne intermingling with Nina's perfume. Adrian always found it amazing how quickly people made the switch from uninhibited fun back to their guarded selves. He was still on the high, though, and hoped his friend Darius was too, wherever he was. Red River Street was Ubers and a soldier like efficiency of movement. Where is the place? Adrian asked. Not far. They savored each other's company. Nina led him down side streets he didn't recognize. It was as though he'd left Austin entirely and was somewhere else. So, what do you do for work? Nina asked. Finance, wealth management specifically. How about you? Well, a little bit of everything. I teach sometimes, take wedding photos sometimes, do hair sometimes, but most of my money comes from dog walking. Maybe one day I can do something in the field I actually got my degree in. And I want to get out of mine. We're running toward and away at the same time, aren't we? Think your friend is okay? Nina asked. Adrian laughed. Yeah, I'm not worried about him. They turned down a narrow street and then into a pathway. Adrian squeezed her hand and she moved closer to him. Two men guarded the door at the end. There were no signs, no neon lights, no pomp or circumstance. They walked into the house. Music played inside, calming ambience. Nina led him through the home and into the backyard. The backyard overlooked the city. Adrian's breath caught. White Flag by Dido was playing now. Nina led him to a chair and sat on his lap. Perhaps 2 dozen people were scattered around the backyard. An unspoken bond connected them all, the night flies of Austin. Nina wrapped her arms around Adrian's neck and buried her face in his chest. Are you okay? He asked. She smiled up at him. Something sad flickered across her face, but she looked content. Yes, I'm exactly where I want to be. In this way, they surrendered themselves to the night. 6 to 6, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., hour 11 and 12, the lament, the awakening. The view of the city below them was exhilarating. The music shifted from song to song and wrapped around them like an embrace. Let's pretend that we're going to have a beautiful and happy life together, she said. Like we're going to grow old together? Yes. Where would we live? I've always wanted to live in a cabin that snows all the time, near a lake, near a quaint relic of a town. How did you know? She smiled. There's nothing that stands in your way. Adrian saw the bird again in the distance and smiled. They talked until their voices were hoarse about their families, their dreams, the people they used to be, and everything in between. About New York and London and Atlanta and Sao Paulo and all the places they wanted to live, about romance, music, and spontaneity. Then they closed their eyes and drifted off together. The changing sky woke them. It wasn't light, but it wasn't dark anymore. It was that gorgeous in between hour when the world held its breath. Adrian caught Nina looking at him with deep sadness in her eyes. What time is it? She asked. 5:34. She nodded. Was the music still playing? Maybe Adrian just couldn't hear it anymore. The other people had drifted away one by one until it was just the two of them and the coming dawn. Adrian looked at her. I never thought of myself as a possessive man. I pride myself in letting the people around me be the best version of themselves. But I want to possess you. I want all of you. And you can have all of me. But I demand much more in return. If there were two thieves that tried to steal each other's hearts, Adrian said, I believe we'd still pick each other. In every version, in every life. She kissed him. Adrian had a vision of their life together, running through amber fields, walking up by the ocean, staying up all night, talking until the coffee grew cold. I'm going to the bathroom, she said when they pulled apart. Will you get us some water? She stood, leaned down, and kissed him once more. Then she walked inside. Adrian watched her disappear through the doorway. Then he stood and walked to the bar. The sky was lighter now. Gold crept across the horizon, pink bleeding through behind it. 6 to 6, hour 13, 6 a.m. The bar worked on an honor system. Each drink had a price in front of it with a barcode. You could scan the code and pay with your phone or leave cash in the tip jar. The water bottles were free, and Adrian grabbed two of them. The morning sun was bright as he turned back. Adrian walked back to their couch, which was still empty. He looked around the backyard. Did she move to a different spot? Maybe the line for the bathroom wrapped around the corner. But the backyard was nearly empty. Just a few stragglers, men and women alone, waiting for their Ubers. He sat back down and waited for her, and waited and waited. And then he remembered something that she said. Even if we don't see each other after tonight, let's spend what time we have together. Adrian understood her meaning, the immutable cruelty of this world, to give him everything he'd ever wanted and then snatch it from him. He set the water bottles down and left the after hours joint. The city was beginning to wake. Morning runners passed, cars zipping this way and that way. Adrian looked up and saw it. The white bird that had followed him for the past few hours. It called out once, then flew towards the sunrise. He wanted to return to the backyard and wait for her to return, but he knew that she wasn't coming back. He pulled out his phone. 6:14 a.m. Saturday morning. His car would be ready by Monday, earliest Tuesday. He'd return to work, he'd see the same people, drive the same streets, and live in the same apartment, and everything would be fine, right? Adrian realized that he'd been changed from the inside out, and nothing could return to the way it was, not without stripping a part of his soul on a daily basis. He knew he tried to recreate this night. Every Friday, he'd go bar hopping, club hopping, hoping to find her again. He thought about the cabin by the lake with the snow, the quaint town and perpetual Christmas, the jazz music he imagined playing on the streets, and the smell of freshly baked cookies, of days spent reading and relaxing and creating something that mattered. And he came to the realization that it was well within his power to make it happen. Darius and Nina simply gave him the power to realize this. Would he prefer to live that life with Nina? Sure, but he could be happy in time living that life alone. He could, in fact, learn to love it and thrive in it, and in time, he could fall in love again. Adrian massaged his head and felt that pulsating sensation on his neck. He needed to find the bagel or taco as quickly as possible, or he was going to spend the rest of the day in slumber. The night was over, but did that mean that the magic had to be gone? He was sad, but for the first time in years, Adrian felt alive. For now, that would have to be enough.